morning. The April 24, 2019 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiency of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Comptroller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. Today's agenda, there are no corrections, additions, or deferrals. However, the board did receive a supplemental protest on behalf of Spinello Companies, and that's on page 92 to 93, items number 3 and 4. That item is currently on the non-routine agenda. We have two items that will be added to the non-routine agenda, and those are page 62, item number 5, and pages 62 to 63, item number 6. I have the following abstentions to report. The Honorable Mayor Young will abstain on pages 10 to 11, page 19, item number 1, pages 19 to 20, item number 2, pages 65 to 66, and pages 87 to 89, item number 13. The Honorable President Middleton will abstain on pages 10 to 11. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt will abstain on page 62, item number 5, pages 62 to 63, item number 6, and on pages 87 to 89, item number 13A. Madam President, those are the abstentions that have been reported thus far, as well as the supplemental protests. And again, the items on the non-routine agenda are pages 62, number 5, page 62, number 3, 62 to 63, number 6, and pages 92 to 93, items number 3 and 4. Thank you.
I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from the President's Office dated April 22nd, 2019, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Comptroller. I will entertain a motion to approve all the items contained on the routine agenda.
Madam President, I move approval of all the items on the routine agenda.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. The routine agenda items have been adopted. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on pages 62, 63, Health Department agreements, items 5 and 6, Associated Black Charities Incorporated. Will the parties please come forward?
Somebody should come and explain this. Where's the health department?
Were they notified?
Somebody better be notified. You know what's going to be on the agenda.
Are you from the health department?
Yes.
State your name and title and continue.
My name is Leslie Thompson. I'm Director of Finance at the Health Department.
Then Ferrari, Director of the Rhine-Wide Program.
Yeah, we need to know what this is.
So ABC is the fiscal agent for the Rhine-Wide Program. They've served as the fiscal agent for multiple years. Rhine-Wide Program received funding for HIV and AIDS, and they are the ones responsible for executing the contracts and reimbursing the providers.
We're going to pull this and ask that you guys come back. Make a motion to...
Yeah, I'll move, Madam President, that this matter be deferred for up to 2 weeks for further scheduling.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 You'll
Opposed, say
be
nay.
contacted.
Thank you.
The
Okay,
motion
thank you.
carries. The second item on the non-routine agenda can be found on pages 92, 93. Recommendations for contract awards, rejections, items 3 and 4, SC 965, improvements to the sanitary sewers in the northeast area of Baltimore City and the transfer of funds. Will the parties please come forward? State your name and thank you.
Good morning, Madam President, Mayor Young, Honorable Board of Estimates. My name is Carlos Stevenson. I'm an engineer 2 in the Department of Public Works Office of Engineering and Construction. SC 965, improvements to sanitary sewer in the northeast area of Baltimore City. The engineer's estimate for this contract is $13,181,502. The lowest bidder was Spinello Company with $8,933,000. $8,933,000, I apologize. The second bidder, Anchor Construction, was $12,448,798. The agency recommends award of this contract to Anchor Construction over Spinello Companies, whose bid, whose bid we concluded through our review was unbalanced and presents a great risk to the city. My team and I analyzed the bids received. Our reviews indicated that Anchor Construction's bid is responsive and reasonable. The agency believes that this is in the best interest of the citizens and the city of Baltimore. Spinello's company's bid was 32% below the engineer's estimate, but several items in their bid were either severely understated or overstated. Spinello's company's bid contained 51 unbalanced items. Those 51 unbalanced items represent 25% of the total project.
And once again, what's the total project?
The total project cost is $13,181,502.
That was the engineer's estimate.
That's the
Mike
engineer's.
Mullen from the law department. That was the engineer's estimate.
Engineer.
solicitor.
Mr. Mullen, did you want to elaborate in any way on the presentation?
I would simply comment on Mr. Cashmere's comments about the DBE document in here, and I can do that after he presents if you wish, or I can do it now.
Okay, that's probably better, better procedure.
Good morning, Honorable President, Board. Brian Cashmere on behalf of the Spinello Companies here in support of their protest. Spinello Companies was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder at $8.9 million, $3.5 million lower than Anchor's bid that the city is now proposing or DPW is now recommending be awarded the contract. Spinello has set forth in its bid protest several reasons for the protest. The principal one being our disagreement that there is a materially unbalanced bid and that providing an award to Spinello at a $3.5 million savings to the city creates risk or unreasonable risk to the city. And I'll explain that in a moment. As well as Mr. Mullen said, we have other bases. We also present that the Anchor's bid is non-responsive in the sense that its DBE good faith checklist is incomplete. And significant within that incompletion is a failure to represent to the city that its MBEs, WBEs, and DBEs are using or not using subcontractors. And the importance of that is whether or not their DBE, MBE, WBEs will be using pass-throughs for this. That's an unknown. Our protest on that grounds that they're not responsive is not to whether or not they comply with the MBE, DBE requirements, but whether or not they are responsive, and responsiveness is, will Anchor perform the contract per the IFP requirements using the MBEs and WBEs in the way they are. It's unknown absent that checklist. I'll move on from that. That is a secondary argument. Our primary position here is one that I would say, quite frankly, Spinello's bid is not materially unbalanced, and it poses no serious risk to the city that you will pay more. In fact, you will pay less by $3.5 million by awarding to Spinello. This is a competitively bid project, and the complaint that DPW is presenting to you is that Spinello's too low. We're saving the city too much money. That shouldn't be a problem in this day and age that we're really debating. You're saving $3.5 million. They are low. They have 35 years of successful performance in the city. They have competitive advantages over others because they've done the work and they've been successful at it. But before I talk more about that, let's understand what an unbalanced bid is. An unbalanced bid, as we set forth in our paper, contains a couple of components. The first component is you have to have low prices on certain items that are unreasonably low. You also have to have unreasonably high prices on others. That gives you the unbalance. But what's significant in analyzing an unbalanced bid is whether or not that high price is also coupled with a quantity. This is a unit price contract. It's coupled with a quantity that is patently understated, such that the bidder in an unbalanced situation will reap a windfall. What's missing here is that second component. Spinello, admittedly, like other bidders on this project and others, bid certain items at a penny and a dollar, commonplace in the industry, where a bidder knows that a certain item is not going to be needed. They will, in a competitive bid process, the city has set up this process to be competitive, they will price that item at a penny or a dollar to gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. That's what's happened here. They've done that.
I don't know what that means. Can you explain?
So in a unit price contract.
I understand a year and a day, but penny and a dollar, I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, I understand, Your Honor. So in a unit price contract, here's a spreadsheet that lists all of the items of work and the estimated quantities. And the way a unit price contract is done is the bidders will bid each item, hundreds of mini bids on a project. And they will put in their price for that, and then they will multiply it by the estimated quantities provided in the IFB by the city. What they will do is, instead of putting in their cost for that item, they'll recognize it based on their experience and their evaluation of the bid that an item won't be needed that much. So to gain, again, the goal is to give the city the lowest possible competitive price. That's a competitive system. So they will put in a lower dollar. For example, on one of the items here, 601, curb and gutter. There is 601 curb and gutter. I think there's an estimate of approximately 2,000 linear feet of curb and gutter. Spinello looks at this and says, you know what, that restoration work on this project isn't going to be that high. So rather than to do this, I'm just going to say $1, because I'm not really going to spend much money on that. So why am I going to bill the city much for that? So they put that in at $1. Now, the reality is, when you do the takeoff, there's, hundreds of feet, not thousands of feet in that item. So that's what Spinello's done. But what's the impact of that? Spinello has a lower price, the city pays less. Spinello takes the risk completely on that item. There is no risk to the city in those pennies and dollars. Spinello took on that risk. That's what you want from contractors in a competitive scenario, for them to take that risk. What's critical here is that there's not that other side. The other side is the problem with the risk for municipalities, federal government, the city of Baltimore, is where they unbalance it by doing that on one side, but on the other side they say, there are items in here that are understated, that are going, where it says 1,000 and we know there's going to be 10,000 of them. What we're going to do is we're going to beef that price up, and we're going to go high on that price, and when it goes over, we're going to be a windfall. And I would agree, that in a situation is a material unbalanced bid, and it poses a risk to the city.
Comptroller Pratt?
The problem that I have with it being too low and under the engineer's estimate is, what I just heard from DPW is that there are 51 unbalanced items, and it consists of 25% of the total contract. which could cause the city to pay more because you could come back with extra work orders. So that's my concern.
And that was going to be my concern too, because I
Yeah.
wrote it down, 51 unbalanced
Yeah.
items, which,
25%.
as we know, we get a lot of, cost overruns, and it comes for us to pay more money. So sometimes the lowest bidder is not always the best bidder.
That's true. Costs more.
And I understand that, but in a competitive bid scenario, not a negotiated bid scenario, the city is using IFB's competitive bid. So there's not the opportunity to negotiate. So that's important here. But as to that concern, that's a different concern than an unbalanced bid. I will say also that the devil's in the details. We don't know what 51 items DPW's referring to. We're not able to explain each of those 51 items. But to the extent they're low, and to address your concern, the contract provides you that protection. You're not at risk there. The Spinello has taken that risk on those items because if they bill for those items, they have to bill at the price that they've agreed to in the contract. They're bound by the contract. That's the beauty of the contract. It puts the risk on Spinello. Now, they can't put in a change, or if they put in a change, the reject stamp hits it, because it's as simple as saying the cost overrun is yours. You agreed to the price.
Well, all that does is buy us a lawsuit.
Right. But that hasn't always been the case, because Mr. Child, that always question these extra work orders, and I've seen them come through from just about every company, and I'm very supportive of all the companies because I want people working. But sometimes when I see those costs overruns, it gives me hiccups, because I'm thinking that if you bid $13 million for a project, then anything that you find that comes up is your responsibility, because you said you can do it for $13 million. I'm just using that as a hypothetical. But then we see these cost overruns and want more money because we see something unexpected. But when you bid on a contract, everything that's there should be your responsibility. No cost overruns, no change orders, none of that. Because that's my thinking, and that's the way I would like the city to go. If somebody bid the contract and they win it, that's what we pay them, and they have to do the complete job, no matter if they find something seen or unseen, because they did the engineer's estimate. And that's the way I'm moving.
I agree, Mr. Mayor. We thrive for better and the best work for the city. Comptroller
Right,
Pratt.
so basically, are you saying no matter what, that Spinello will repair it at a fixed price, no cost overruns?
What they will do is they will perform the work per their contract. They will perform it per that $8.4 million at a savings to the city of 3.5. That's what I'm representing to you.
So you're saying it's a fixed contract, no matter what they find, they will honor the contract for the $8 million, no matter what, no cost overruns.
Well, there are many elements of the contract.
That's what we're talking about.
But that's different, Madam President of the Board. That's different. That concern is different than a materially unbalanced bid. That concern is merely a concern that the bid is too low. That's what you're saying. You're not talking about materially unbalanced anymore. You're saying, bidders out there in the city of Baltimore, beware. If you are more than 30% lower than the engineer's estimate, you will not get work here. And that's not what the IFB says, that's not what the law says. We've deviated here in this discussion from the discussion of materially unbalanced. We're talking now about the board's concern, and I respect the board's concern that somehow we're too low, okay? And I will represent you. The reason we're too low is 35 years of work here. We know how to do work in Baltimore. We know how to bid work in Baltimore. And that's why you're getting that benefit. And to run from that benefit in a fixed price contract where you're getting the benefit of $3.5 million just because we're too low is one, it's not in the IFB. And it's not the issue that was presented with respect to unbalanced bids.
It's not the point that you bid it too low. The point is that we have 51 unbalanced, and we don't know what that means, which means that the 8 point whatever million that you quoted could be higher, and it could be higher than the 13.181.
But on a unit price contract, we have to live with the price for each item that we gave you. We told you for that curb and gutter, for item 601, we will only charge you $1 for every linear foot. That's our price. You're not going to pay more than that, okay, throughout this project. So the 51 items, I would suggest, are functions of the low price. And that gave Spinello a
Well,
competitive
because I'm not an engineer, and this is something that Department of Public Works and the engineering estimate are talking about, normally I follow what the department really wants, to be honest with you, because they are the experts, I'm not. All we're doing is looking at what they present to us and what the department is recommending to us. So that's what we're going to base this on.
Mr. Mullen, could you speak?
Yeah, I'm sorry, if I
Mr.
can.
Mullen, could you speak?
Mike Mullen for the Law Department. With all respect to Mr. Cashmere, this is an unbalanced bid, and we've heard the testimony of Mr. Stevenson who said that. We have RK&K here. They are the project engineer who did the estimate. They also believe that this is an unbalanced bid. The problem with an unbalanced bid is that there is risk, and it's an unknown to the city as to what's going to happen. And as Mary Young just said, you have to listen to the engineers, in my judgment. That's the gold standard for the Board of Estimates. That's where they've assessed the risk. They're the professionals. They've looked at it. We have 23 penny or dollar bids here. Now, a penny bid or a dollar bid on a line item bid like this means that the money's been shifted somewhere else. It's really that simple, and it is an unbalanced bid. We're not just simply saying it's too low. There are also 16 line items that I looked at which are too high. They're the highest ones of all the bidders, and 6 of those were unbalanced as well. So you do have an unbalanced bid, and that is the issue for the board. And as in the past, what the board has to do is look at the risk to the city, and the safest way to do that is to look at the engineers that are the experts in the field and what they have to say and what their recommendations are. Mr. Stevenson is here. The gentleman from RK&K is here. If you have specific questions, they would be glad to answer them. I can only go over, general comments about it because it is detailed in engineering. I did want to address the DBE issue.
Yes.
Because this is a state contract, federally and state funded. Therefore, our MBE and WBE rules do not apply. Our WBE documents don't apply. None of the MBU documents apply. They're all state documents. The state, when we go, before we can make a recommendation to the board, the agencies have to present the whole package to the state, and they review it for compliance with the state documents. And this is a document from the state that denotes approval. No, I'm just going to you can shift them around. If you look at the first full paragraph, once everybody gets it, the Maryland Department of the Environment hereby advises that the bidding procedures for the reference project are approved. The contract may be awarded to the second low responsible bidder, Anchor Construction. And then in the next full paragraph, we have completed our review of the minority business enterprise, women's business enterprise, information submitted on the above reference contract. We acknowledge the application of 6 good faith efforts on this state and federally financially assisted project, and then the following represents the proposed MBE, WBE participation achieved to date, and then it lists all of the subcontractors that Anchor proposed to be used on the job, and if you note it down at the bottom, it gives the total MBE percentage of 18% or $2.24 million. WB at 16% of $1.99 million. So the state has approved it. They looked at all of the documentation. It's true that Anchor apparently did not check off all the boxes on one form. Obviously, the state looked at that and felt that was immaterial because they have approved it. There was a wealth of other information that Anchor submits, and I believe Anchor is here as well to answer questions if you had any questions about all of the materials that were submitted. But since it's a state-funded, federally funded contract, we defer to the state on this matter, and they have approved the contract and recommended the award to Anchor. I'm happy to answer any questions, or these gentlemen can help if you have specific engineering type questions.
Solicitor, any questions?
I have no question.
If I could be heard on just two items, and one is I would submit that the devil's in the details. The 23 low, the 16 high, we've not seen this. We're coming here today, this is the first we're hearing of this. The due process of us being able to explain why these things are not unbalanced is somewhat missing here. But I will say this, 23 low, no risk to the city, as set forth in our papers. The 16 high, what's missing there is an explanation of why they're high. Just because they're relatively high does not mean they're significantly higher than they should be. But importantly as a matter of law, to be unbalanced, that high number has to be coupled with an estimated quantity that is understated. That's what the law is for unbalanced bids. To follow the law, they have to couple those two because that's what brings the risk to the city. I haven't heard that here today. Without that, there's not the risk to the city. But before I close, the Vice President of Spinello's here, Todd Galetti, Madam Controller, he'd like to address the question you raised about whether or not they will stand by their price, if he maybe heard for a moment on that.
Okay.
Todd Galetti, Vice President of Operations for Spinello Companies. And I would like to address the question because I feel it is an important one. If Spinello is committed to standing by our price of $8.9 million, if the contract is performed and executed in accordance with the plans and specifications that we bid, Spinello is absolutely committed that we will not exceed that $8.9 million price on this project.
But in the past, Spinello has given the city extra work orders, and you have not stood by that fixed price.
What we're saying is as long as when we put our bids together, we're bidding a specific set of plans and specifications. If the work's executed in accordance with those plans and specifications, we will not exceed that $8.9 million price.
Thank you. And I'd like to just mention, it was brought to my attention that Councilman Henry of the 4th District is also with us today. And we like to see balanced budgets, not budgets, but we like to see balanced bids here in Baltimore. And on that note, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam President, I don't think there's any question here about good faith on either side. These are good contractors, but the board is entitled and I think has a duty to accept the professional judgments of the DPW experts and their consultants, and I would move, therefore, to deny the protests and the supplemental protests and approve the recommendation of the DPW on these items.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As there is no more business before the board, we will recess until bid opening at 12 noon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Board of Ethics is now in session for the receiving and opening of bids. There are no addenda for today. TR 19009. Structural repairs citywide, JOC 1. A bid security is required if the amount is over $100,000. Okay, so the price page. Allied Contractors, Inc., with a bid bond. $1,494,000 $1,700.
Okay, this will be referred to the Department of Transportation for their review. Are there any rubber bands?
Thank you. SWC 7794 Colgate Stormwater Pumping Station Upgrade. A bid security is required if the amount is over $100,000. Three addendum. Okay. Oh, here it is. Good. Great. Thank you. Corman Cocosine Construction Company with a bid bond. $1,989,385. Found the bid bond. Metra Industries with a bid bond. $3,297,000. American Contracting and Environmental Services, Inc. with a bid bond. $2,273,000. Kiewit Infrastructure South Company with a bid bond. Again, this is Kiewit Infrastructure South Company with a bid bond, $2,917,457.50. Excuse me, Audrey, paper clip.
For the next round.
That's a big one. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is great. Thank you. This is perfect. I'm set, thanks. W.M. Slosser Company, Inc., with a bid bond, $2,844,000.
Okay, these will be referred to the Department of Public Works for review.
Sorry.
Can you reach up there? Thank you. Yeah, power.
SC 926R, electrical distribution, excuse me, electrical distribution system reliability improvements, physical security upgrades, and on-site power generation at the Patapsco wastewater treatment plant. A bid security is required if the amount is over $100,000. Okay, I've got the first part of it. I found part of it. But that's why I need help. Oh, I got it. Here it is.
It's amazing decimal points.
Yeah. And sometimes it. Okay. These things out of order. Yes, sure. Okay. All right, good. The Whiting Turner Contracting Company, Inc., with a bid bond, $74,444,950. Okay. Maybe it's in the rear. Okay, I'm getting close. Okay, yes, okay. Kiewit Infrastructure Company with a bid bond. $93,964,000. It's right here with it, so it can be seen. Thank you. W.M. Slosher Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $78,688,000.
Okay, these will be referred to the Department of Public Works for their review.
On the right-hand side, baby. Okay. B50005589. Decorative LED fixtures and poles. A bid security is not required. Signify North America Corporation. Make sure, because I see these other pages. Yeah, so that's the difference. Okay. Signify North America Corporation. $28,120.70.
Okay, could you repeat that for me, please?
Yes, sorry. Again, that was for Signify. The amount is $28,120.70.
Okay, thank Thank you.
Sure. C.N. Robinson Lighting Supply Company, Inc., $29,704.
Okay, this will be referred to Department of Public Works.
Procurement. Very good.
On the paper, it says Public Works, so I'll just change that to procurement. Yeah, y'all making me look silly. That's okay. It's procurement. This will go to Department of, the Bureau of Procurement. Okay. Okay, it is corrected. Thank you. It's okay.
Madam Deputy Solicitor.
I read it as it's written.
I am required to do the same thing when I'm reading the
Right.
Okay. B50005727, all-terrain vehicle with plow. A bid security is required of 5% of the bid. Here. Let me see this other. Let's check. Copy to something. Where's Mr. Armstrong? I need Mr. Armstrong, please. I need him to pull the envelopes for me. I gotta find the envelopes to make sure it's not caught. Okay.
Excuse me.
We'll take questions afterwards if that's okay. All right, thank you.
No, these are. These are one. See any envelopes? I think plain envelope. Let me see. There's an explanation up here about this. I didn't check this. Be here. Let me see. This was received today. It was due today.
There's Glenn.
Yeah, okay. Here. This is what we're reading. He may be able to help with this. Pass this down. Okay, read this.
Oh.
At the top, please.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
No.
Oh.
I'm just reading while we're reading, we're trying to figure out what's going on. See, this is for a different bid.
It's for a different number. This is for 4 tractors with loaders. It's for a different bid.
We're not giving you more money because you got money that we,
I get it.
but I think ultimately it probably had to do research.
I agree. Okay.
Okay, thank you, yes, thank you. For the bid of Fence Services, Inc., that bid will have to, it's subject to further review, so there will be no additional information on this at this time. We will probably bring this back at the next meeting. Thank you. Because I don't know.
Right, you can put it back in there.
Yep, and I'll take hold of this.
And that was the other one.
Yes, only one. There are no other bids that have been received for B500527. The only bid again was from Fence Services, Inc. That bid will be subject to further review. Thank you. No, afterwards, please. Thank you. We'll be finished shortly. The next one. B50005729, boat and trailer. A bid security of 5% is required. Okay. Page 9 for their price, but
Just wanted to see if there was anything in here.
okay, if you please, thank you. And also, since we have 2 items, and there's nothing that says total, here's the second one's for the boat, one's for the trailer.
Right.
I'm going to announce it as an item bid and prices will not be read.
Got it.
I'll say subject to verification of the bond. Again, this is B50005729, boat and trailer. and a bid security is required of 5%. Inventec Marine Solution LLC, the bid submitted is an item bid, so prices will not be read. This bid is subject to verification of a bid bond being on file with the Department of Finance.
Okay, this will be referred to the Bureau of Procurement. B50005743, Windows and Trusses Cleaning Services, Convention Center Complex. A bid security is not required. About 6 pages from the rear, I'm seeing price information. You have to move it to me. I'm sorry. Okay. Conservation Services Contracting and Inspection LLC. $166,700. Should be towards the front. Okay, great. Okay. VIP Special Services LLC. And again, a bid security is not required. $19,000. Okay, that's for 3 years, I'm sorry. Thank you. Estimated total, grand total for all years.
That's what it is per year.
But that's still when you write it. Is that 519 or 19?
Yeah.
That's 519.
519, 250.
I'll read the other one we had.
The other one we did the 1 year.
Did it have both though?
It did.
Oh, let me go back and see. I should correct that then. Thank you. They just had the one. Okay, so I'll just do 1 year. Okay, all right. The amount that I'll be reading is for 1 year and not for 3. And again, this is VIP Special Services LLC. $173,085. Thank you. Here's rubber band, you need one. Let's see.
I've got a total of 5.
Yeah.
Proposed proposals, 5 bids.
Okay, here's P2. Towards the back, about 6 pages from the P2 Cleaning Services LLC, and again for 1 year, the amount is $249,090. Occasionally. Yeah, it's not too big, so I'll just see one. Okay. Sparkle Window Cleaner, and again for 1 year, $79,678. Okay, we can put a clip on this one.
Is it in that?
It's a different bidder. This is extra clean. Somebody, yeah, I think something. And we have the same circumstance. Okay, Extra Clean. What are they saying? Clean? Yeah, Extra Clean Inc.
Yeah.
For 1 year, $293,300.
These will be sent to the Bureau of Procurement for their review.
Money coming now. Checks. Okay. We have one, which should be good. Okay.
What do you want me to write on that?
Okay, so basically, you'll write the date, then you're going to write the bid number,
What's the
424. And this is the bid number here, B5. And I write the name anyway, but sometimes they don't have it. But Valley Supply. And I'd put the amount, yeah. Sometimes you have extra to say. Okay. So what? And usually what I try to do while you're writing is I try and find the page that has the amount, so it makes it a little easier for you. Okay. Okay, and here's the extra copies. Valley Supply and Equipment Company, Inc., with a check. $473,835.
Okay, this will go to the Bureau of Procurement.
Okay, thank you. There being no further business, we adjourn. You may come up and you had a question. Yes, thank